Hello and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining our panel discussion, which is sponsored by the Viking. And today we're gonna talk about launch fast, scale smart using one of the strategic models, either white label or turnkey. And let me start with my panel members, my speakers. Beautiful Aliona, ice-looking Jeff, beautiful Jenny, and again, Franz and Nugzar.
Thank you.
So let's begin our discussion about the turnkey and white label models. The first topic that I would like to start is choosing the right model from the beginning. Everyone goes for the fast models, but having the right start is the core definition of a right business. And I will start with Aliona. What do you think? What is the right model to start for launching a business, whether it's white label or a turnkey? How you feel about it?
Hi, Artak. Thank you so much for the question. Hi, everyone. My name is Aliona. I'm Chief Commercial Officer at Mega Fair Games. I'm in charge of global strategy of our company, business department, sales, account management, etc. On my daily basis, I meet hundreds of operators and I talk to them about their pains, and they come up to me with their demandings, and they ask me to help with their requests. So I know a lot about how they feel it from inside. The question that we're discussing here today, launching with white labels or turnkey casino models, is quite a broad question. There is no short and right answer that would satisfy everyone in every single position or every market or conditions that you have. In order to properly come to the solution of this question, you would probably you should start from realizing the goal that you want to achieve. It depends on the experience of your team, on the experience of the platform that you're working with, and obviously you need to properly evaluate what you want to do. Is it your first casino that you want to open and you're a newbie in the industry? Is it that you already have a well-established brand and you just want to open a second branch or a second brand with the same market? Or you want to try a new market and you're trying to test a new geo, hence you're looking for a fast solution for yourself. Answering all of these questions will lead you to the right answer, which we're going to discuss here today with all of you. That's why I think I wanted to raise, sorry for answering your question with my question, but this is what we need to understand when we discuss different approaches to whether you should launch fast or scale smart.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Litlat. I'm the Group CEO of Anakatech. Primarily, Anakatech Group is a operator in various markets, and we are also specializing in turnkey and white labeling. And the irony is, I think here there is a couple of clients that we do have as white labels and turnkey in this room. The answer to your question is pretty straightforward. White label first. Goes without saying, without any hesitation. Depends who you are and depends what is your objective. Time to market is quite important.
Mhm.
Investment, and again, if you are already operating elsewhere or you have certain experiences, but an entry level is a white label. It has various, I would say, advantages: cost primary, fast to market, and you will understand further on. So there is less risk knowing the white label. Then we can go through the rest of the question afterwards.
Thank you. Jenny?
Hi, I'm Jenny. I work for Testa, and we are actually a company that crowd tests typically if you have launched with a white label or your own platform as well and see the result in that market. So I can't say always which is the best for the sustainable, but absolutely if you go in fast because you have a new market share that you want to take, then yeah, Turnkey, and it will be very interesting to hear even more about why you should make the other choices as well.
Hi, guys. Nice seeing you here. Thanks for having me on the panel as well. I'm Franz. I'm CEO and co-founder of Viking. I've been in the iGaming industry now for almost 20 years. I have an engineering background, so unsurprisingly, we started off in the platform business. Turnkeys and white labels is obviously what we do as a business, and of course also game aggregation. We have a very strong focus on BI and intelligence, obviously these days, because that's what's important for the operators. With regards to the question, I'm very curious to hear also your opinions today. You're all experts, some are operators, some are B2Bs, some are both. We're mostly B2Bs. What I would make it boil down to, and I guess we'll come through this in the conversation, is unit economics. Turnkey and white labels, the main differentiator for me is unit economics. If you can afford having a turnkey, this is when you already made it to an extent, and then you're scaling up the next step. And some of the pitfalls, and those that we have been seeing that I guess Jenny, you and your team seeing quite a lot, we'll be discussing, and also keen on finding it out from the operator's perspective. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess most of you already somehow answered about this question. So I'm representing today Wazen, like it's a new established B2B platform. So we come from the operator's experience for more than 10 years. So that's why we decided gathering our experience to expand and share our experience and technological like know-hows what we have established to our like partners and future partners. Now, if we go back like to the question, it depends actually on the business appetite and the pocket size. So if we say and if we look at the landscape that so many like casinos and operators are establishing on a daily basis, and it's hundreds and thousands, we can easily understand that no, most of them, fortunately or unfortunately, are closing in a short and mid-term. So, and most of them actually are using the white label. So the data and the market shows that now, like the popular one is a white label. And turnkey is like a more sophisticated one. Whenever you have the experience, whenever you know where to go, how to expand, you have set up with the traffic, you have a budget, and you have a long-term plans, and like you know from where you come and where you go. So I think this can be from my side the answer on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the responses. And the follow-up question, like today, the operators are heavily focusing on launching speed and the budget they have for the business. But there are cornerstones that they underestimate during the evaluation of the choosing the right model. What do you think, what operators underestimate the most while trying to figure out which of the models fits best? Let's start with you, again, from Aliona.
Thank you, Artak. Well, probably those operators who are not very experienced on the market, they not that they underestimate, they overestimate the resource that they have, the experience of their team, and the experience of the platform team in different markets. Moreover, it's those people who just start, and they go for a white label, right? Let's say because it's fast and relatively cheap. Once they set up everything and it takes time to launch a white label, they start digging deeper in the market, right? They dig, and they realize they need this, they need that, they need that. But white label cannot provide all of that, so they really meet the reality even before they launch. So even before they start scaling, they already realize this is not enough. So it's really important that you have the realistic vision of the market, of your team, of your time and money resource, and how you utilize it.
I'll take it from the last word that you said. Like most of the white labels will be launching in 6 months, and they will stopping, and we've seen many of them as well. By experience, I think this is wrong planning, and there's a lot of fantasies at the beginning from anyone who would like to stepping in the industry itself. The reason why I said white labeling is a good entry, it has its own condition, and also it's very important to make a to distinguish or to make the differences between what is a white label and what is a turnkey. To me, a white label is basically you getting and you need to worry only about your acquisition strategy. Then choosing the right partner is also, I took it also from your side, is also a good strategy. You need to pick the right partner to come in with you as a white label. And that right partner should and must have an operation experience. And the only thing that you need to take care of is an acquisition level, and let your partner, whoever provide you with the white label, run the operation and provide you the best practice and so on. I think this is an entry level, and it needs to be clear. From a turnkey position, there is a difference on the cost, on the budget, but the turnkey is you need to have your own license. Managing your own license and risk and regulation and the whole thing, it's a big headache. On top of that, you're not controlling the development on a turnkey, so you're always relying on a turnkey provider. So that's why I said personally, I'm more into the white label first to test the waters and you try the markets. But if you already exist in the business and exist in that market and you're choosing only technology platform from a turnkey, then again, you have to pick the right one as well so that you're not missing your
So,
investment.
what they are usually giving up by using the white label because of the speed and the less headache you mentioned.
You want to take it? Okay. I can continue.
No, you can continue.
All right,
You're
so
on a good.
depends. I think the partner here needs to ensure the payment. The main payment is the first door to any. If you're talking about click to lead, lead to sales, the conversion, and then you have to ensure all the payment they're available in the market, and then whole your CRM technology, the platform, the user experience, the UI, all of that has to go first. And again, the partner himself, when I say the partner, is whoever the provider providing the white label solution should ensure that the bottom line, everything is working according to your marketing strategy and gives certain guarantees that there is a certain lifetime value at the end, because at the end, the budget for the acquisition is yours, and you need to ensure the partner is also doing his part to ensure there is a return of your investment. And I think this is where both the client, the white label client, and the white label provider should shake hands.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, very true. And then as well, that often when you have entered a market, you of course want to change and regulations change, and you need to have new tools that you have to implement. And you want someone that cares about if your players can do KYC or not, and not someone that just forgets about that for you, I would say.
I would add to what you said that those that enter the market as white label operators, they should be hyper aware of what their responsibility is. Their responsibility is bring players in. Full stop. End of story. Don't focus on button colors, box shadows. Don't focus on the speed of the UI. Don't focus on anything which is not relevant to the player acquisition. We see so often operators getting completely worked out on how the UI looks, and rightly so. They should be concerned. They should do some base testing. They should have an understanding of what a product should look like, and they should be aware of what the product is. But be aware that your responsibility is getting the players in. This is where your revenues is coming from. If the platform is not suitable, and this includes our platform, it may not be suitable for Sub-Sahara Africa, but it may be very suitable for Southeast Asia. So if you're not suitable, pick another platform, but focus on your responsibility, which is bringing the players in.
Yeah, I would agree with Jeff that like the main driver for the business nowadays is the traffic. So if you have a traffic, it's really easy. And nowadays on the markets, it's very like available, like too many white label platforms as well as turnkeys and so on. I think that nowadays there is no problem of choosing one or two, like even like concentrating or fitting some X market, because like there are wide range of companies today, B2B, like offering the services. But if you're done and if you know like what you are targeting, if you know the audience you are targeting, and if you know like what they like and how you have a plans how to grow there, I believe that yeah, you can choose. And if you have a budget, for sure it's better to go with a turnkey. Yes or no? Yes. So if you do not have so much budget and if you want to start with that, yes, you should go with white label. But there is something in the middle between what, for example, nowadays as a ways, and we are trying to find this like a golden middle, to have the toolkit like somehow to be in the middle and not to be the pure turnkey and not to be the pure white label, but in the middle find some solutions for those, let's say, entrepreneurs who are starting and who has some experience like running the business, or they know what to do, but they do not have all the components fulfilled what the turnkey, for example, is offering like with a standard way. So yeah, for this, I think that for the future as well and our development, we see there like in this golden middle.
Thank you. Thank you for the responses. Now, let's suppose the model is chosen, regardless it's white label or turnkey. The first painful thing is scaling. And what you think when the operators, what is the first painful area they met when there's the, regardless of the model, when they choose either turnkey or white label, when the player quantity and amount of funds used during the gambling are increasing, what is the first painful aspect that operator see on their road at the beginning?
I think for white labels, it would be the operational problem first, because the processes, basically processes and white labels are determined, right? So no matter how good you are, you have to adapt to the platform that gives you the service, and they're not going to change the process for you, no matter what market you're working on or how you do it. That's why the white labels would meet the operational problems. The turnkey, I see it as a technical problem first, because their team might be well established, but they still have to comply with the platform for those kind of things. But then when discussing all of these models, somehow we're missing the point that when people are really experienced, they start looking at their own platform. No, I mean once they all understand how it works, what we see now on the market, hundreds of platforms appear like mushrooms after the rain. So literally, and they all say we were global. We were global. No, I don't think so. Most likely you're good at some market, right? And that's why you open this platform, because you have the expertise in some specific region. So this is, I would say, something that we should also add to the discussion, because we cannot ignore the elephant in the room, right? When discussing the launching a casino thing. So I would like to hear your thoughts on this as well, if you guys have something to add on that.
It's more than a question. It's many many questions in one. Uh, uh, no, but the whole topic it has a lot of I would say we can split it into many areas. For me, the most important thing I've said it before is the bottom line is your player value. So in order for you to scale up the business, you need to have a certain guaranteed of a lifetime value, because you might be investing and investing and investing and keep investing without having any precise timeline of your ROI, then you will be bleeding money. And usually for white labels, they come with short budgets, and that is quite important into scale up the business, but at the same time have the return fast. A few examples, and I'm not sure if I have to use the word in different jurisdictions. The time to market is important, but also the return of the investment has to come short. It's not in any other markets that you wait for 9 months. Here we're talking about 3 months, and you need to roll as a white label. Otherwise, you will be bankrupt quick. But also, you're setting a lot of dependencies on your provider. For example, if you find an opportunities, and we all know most of the white labels coming to us and saying that, okay, I found a new market, I would like to penetrate this new market. That takes time to prepare the market itself. And I agree with you, it has to be localized to a certain extent. But when I say localized, is you need to ensure that the translation, the content, your games lobby, and the payment methods, they are quite good for that market. And that means time for the provider to adapt the whole situation and whole operation into that market. So these are the two things I would say: LTVs, return of investments, and then you have also the dependencies when it comes to finding new opportunities and how fast you can scale up the business in a new market.
Jenny?
Yeah, I'm going back to the original question and not your question, but because I can't answer your last one. But what I would say is that the problems that arise is very much that the white labels that tend to be, for example, very focused on what you have in front of you and the new things. And yes, acquisition is important, but they tend to also forget what's happening to what we already have. And since everything is changing all the time, it's very often that things break and you're actually leaking revenue somewhere else, I would say, is what we see very early on.
To answer your question real quick, and then I think the question why so
It's not my question.
no, I know,
Like,
but there's one
we
thing
just
which I
ignored
wanted,
this.
which I wanted to address is why are there so many platforms entering the market every year? I have no answer for the question. I'm wondering myself. You know, it's one of the hardest businesses to get into. Unless you're an operator, you have outgrown your operation. You now have, like the gentleman here, the opportunity to also go into B2B, which is a new segment that makes sense. But starting a platform first, I would never do that in my life again. If I can set the clock back 20 years, no way on earth I would do that. But then going to your question, scaling, I think one of the hardest things about scaling is that once you outgrow white label and you go to turnkey, you're essentially running a different business, which requires a much different skill set. So if I break it down to my area of expertise, you run a tech company, and running a marketing company, which is acquiring players, is very different to running a tech company. You all of a sudden think in terms like sprints and in 2 weeks release cycles, and you have more product owners in place, and you need to worry about the product. So your days when there's pure acquisition in play is over. So there's a much broader focus. Plus then there's the whole regulatory part, compliance, more processes, maybe different licenses in different countries. So this is where scaling becomes a mindset thing, essentially.
From my perspective, actually, I do not see any problem that like new operators are appearing and then disappearing, because it's like means that the sector is raising and like there is too much interest, and like the entrepreneurs who have some funds try their luck there. About the model, I think what I'm like observing is the following: that there are like a B2B companies which are like manufacturing such kind of like operators, just like factories. They can, I don't know, push up about 10, like several tens of like operators in a month. but it's not a model actually what we are pushing for from perspective of Wayzen, because for us matters the success of our like current and future partners. And it's not some kind of listing fee or fixed fee what we are just taking as a rent, for example, from the operators. We treat ourselves as a partners in this case. So that's why instead of having like a tons of, I don't know, tens of like partners in that case, we are choosing them very accurately. And it's better to have several of operators and share their success with us. So that's why this is the model we have chosen and we are following this way. We say that we are like in the AI world nowadays, we are a human-centric company right away, and the relationship between our company and the entrepreneurs, we value it very much. And yeah, this is the way we have chosen and we follow.
Thank you. Nowadays, I realize that most of the businessmen who wants to enter to the gambling business, most of them have no idea about the acquisition, CRM, payments, compliance, responsible gambling. All these things for them are weird, and they want to enter the market as fast as possible and grab their portion from the market. Um, let's start from reverse order this time. Nugzarjan, what are those 3 questions that you would ask to your future partner to understand first whether he need to enter this business, and the second, which the model fits the most for him?
Actually, the first part is that the vision, how they and what they see is the value of, so what kind of type of problems they are solving, like appearing on the market and which market. Because only funds, like having the funds for the starting up the business is not enough. This is one, I believe. The second one is that if do they have the strategy how to enter this or like another market, and if they have set up some kind of plan of acquisition. This is another and most important, I would say. And the third one would be like what do they expect from us, like in our case, because it is important, because like starting up like when you're on a negotiation, like everybody's in a hurry to like scale up, start fast, so on, and the questions are raising a bit later when something goes okay or not okay in most cases. And then it happens that whenever some questions arise, they got rejected or get confusion and so on. So in the beginning, it is very important for me personally to understand and to have the right expectations from each other, make it clear. And after that, I believe it's already like have a sense to move on and start the business.
Thank you. Thank you. What about you, Franz?
I think money does matter. So if you have the right, if you have deep pockets, then obviously you have more chances to succeed. That doesn't mean that money is everything. I agree with you there. It's just if you see someone come from like a VC-backed background, they have huge capital, they can enter into a market, they can penetrate there. Then there's obviously a good opportunity that if someone who's coming empty-handed. Other than that, I would be looking at one core thing which I've been following throughout the years. If I understand that they can prove it mathematically, so if they have the numbers under control, then even having little capital or asking for venture capital, getting pooled capital in order to enter the market, I would be absolutely happy to entertain this. As a platform, by supporting them with the setup fees, with minimum fees, even with the revenue share, if I understand that they have a really good grasp on the BI, on the financial matters, then they have ability to succeed. And that's a hard thing, by the way. I think, I mean, we'll touch base on the regulatory part. I challenge anyone of you, tell me which market you would enter on the regulated side, like for example, Brazil or Germany, with what marketing concept. You know, is this like very tough to calculate? And if you see people that have an angle that can enter into a market because they believe that they have access to a certain segment of customers, either through the acquisition channels that they have, or they can prove it mathematically that they can enter, then I personally would have a lot of trust, irrespective of how much money they bring to the table.
For you as well, because we're not taking in partners and not a platform. So I'm
Yes, James.
I would ask two questions actually. I mean, not even three. I mean, if the from a marketing perspective, if they know how to acquire players, that's number one. If they had, so we're targeting more affiliates who would like to launch their first online casinos, or anyone with a solid acquisition, not only funding. So we don't care too much about the money here, but we really care about if they can acquire players, and we do ask a question about the FTD forecast. And the second question, if they have any other operation, do they know the industry? Aside from these two, I mean, from at least from our perspective, we do not take any white label. We just say no, we can't. And even though somebody comes with money to put them on the table, we would refuse 100%. And this is our at least point of view, and this is what we will be taking. So these are the 2 points, and I can explain why we do that. But the acquisition sources and count of FTDs, and if you run any other business with the different platforms or land-based or you're crossing to online, these are the questions that we would ask, because I believe that the rest of it is up to us to make sure that the partner has certain guarantees on his value. We run the numbers, we do provide them reports, we know exactly what to do from a operational perspective. Post acquisition is ours.
Thank you. And you, Aliona?
Well, we don't take any platform clients as well, right?
But what's your perspective?
I very much agree with pretty much everyone who has just spoken. But I wanted to also say that we know so many examples of platforms which provide the solution for free now. Like you can set up a casino with zero setup fee. You don't need money in the beginning, right? You especially if you know people, or if you fall for a discount at some exhibition, you don't even need to put the money up front on the table. But it's very important that you have this money for marketing, right? For to get those players on board. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any effect. And when people would like to launch fast, they usually think, oh, I have 50 grand or 10 grand, and can you do something for me? But do they even realize what they're stepping in? So this is important that we ask them right questions, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And guys, we have 10 minutes left for questions.
Yes.
Just so you know. Just a
Yes,
minute.
thank you. And apparently we will move to the question section if we have from our audience. Everything is, yes, sure.
Quick one, maybe that didn't mention here, but in terms of player support, like how's that handled between these two solutions? How a new operator coming in, how much focus should be put in, or is that an afterthought for when they launch?
I take it. Remember, Turnkey is a very different than a white label. Turnkey is you take care of your player support. The Turnkey is you just have a guarantee of a technology, so they provide you with a chat system, with a mailing system, with ticketing system, with the whole operation system. But the resources and the quality of your services, that you need to take care of it. So the tools is provided to you. You've been trained how to use a tool from a turnkey perspective, but then you need to ensure that regulation and training and RGs and the triggers, that you set them properly, and your customer service, whatever you're handling your customer facing units, do know how to operate in the turnkey solution. White label is all the way around. You don't have any say, because the risk and liability are to the license holder. So from a license holder perspective, they do manage end to end the services. Hence why I emphasized before on the acquisition only from a white label, because then the license holder who hold the liability, and he has to take care of everything related to the player.
I guess no other questions. Thank you very much for making this topic very interesting and discussion as well. Hope you see you soon again on the panel for the discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining our panel.